All right, YB, thank you very much for coming here today. It's very interesting and also encouraging for you in your speech earlier on recognizing some of the issues that industry players face, not just industry players, as well as stakeholders, media, agencies, all of us are in some way affected. It affects the economy. So we have a lot of personal experiences here today on how digital piracy has impacted their work. But I'd like to start with you, YB. We know that Malaysia's vision to become the region's creative hub will be undermined if online piracy were to continue. And at this point in time, your views about the gaps that are still happening in Malaysia in terms of combating online piracy.
Thank you. I think if we look at how it is we develop in terms of recognizing the importance of the internet, in terms of recognizing the extent of coverage and broadband in the years to come. And of course, if we juxtapose that, having regard to the fact that we have a huge creative industry now that is ever growing and of course is becoming more relevant, particularly where you have all sorts of gadgets that make such content available. You can see that as we move ahead, we are facing a great challenge because we are going to provide people with a platform, with broadband, with the facilities and the infrastructure, which of course would allow them to have access to a lot of this content. But there we have a problem because a lot of this content may be content which is not legitimate. So the question is, how do you deal with it today? We've had this problem for some time now. Many of the media industry and creative industry players have met me, they've expressed concerns, and I understand these concerns. You spend so much time, you invest in a particular project, it takes years for you to actually achieve what it is you want to achieve. And of course, when you have a product, then you find that the returns that you expect or that you are legitimately entitled to are somewhat destroyed because of digital piracy. So I think in the years to come, first to acknowledge that we have a major problem, we need to deal with it, and I think that this problem is a problem that is going to grow in the years to come. So we really need to sit down and discuss how it is we're going to get around it. We have laws in place, we also have ministries that have to deal with the problem, but again it comes back to enforcement, and I think this is something that the industry is very concerned about, despite the fact that you have laws and despite the fact that you have a government that says that it's committed. The question is how great an impact can you have, particularly in light of the kind of enforcement that you can take given the facilities that you have. So yes, a major problem today, yes, something that we have to look forward to, and I think all of us here have to try and figure out how it is we're going to get around it, and I think this is what this whole conference is about anyway.
Thank you, YB. Now I'd like to turn to some of our content producers, filmmakers who make great movies. Maybe I'll start with Adrian. You recently made this Pascal.
Yep.
Is it one of the most expensive film ever made? I believe so.
I've ever made, yes, one of the most expensive film.
Okay, a lot of hard work has been put into it. It's not just the filmmakers. We're talking about the whole ecosystem, from the makeup artists to the music composers to even the crew members. How does online piracy affect you as a filmmaker? And do you feel discouraged when it comes to making more movies?
Of course, everyone feels discouraged by this act of theft, and then everybody knows piracy is an act of modern theft, and then thank you, YB, for looking into our theft in our industry. And but what I would like to stress here is that piracy does not only steal from us, it kills also. For example, I'm a small-time director and producer compared to everyone here, but I was even smaller when I started my career. And then imagine when I had to start my first project, I did not have the support financially from even the big companies or someone, because I'm relatively new when I started, so I need to borrow money, from my neighbor, from my parents, from my machi, pachi, whoever that I know. So everybody will just run away from me because when I see them, I ask for money. And then just imagine that. The reason why I say it kills, it has the potential to kill talents like me of AJ. Okay, but yeah, has the potential to kill talents like filmmakers. Because today, once the movie is being released in the cinema, the audience or the mass public may not know whether it will eventually go to Astro, Media Prima, iFlix or Netflix or Dim Sum, but for sure they know they can wait for the piracy copy or the piracy link to watch it. That's like so normal, and it's a norm among our society right now. So people would wait for it to go and watch it on a piracy, on a pirated website or pirated DVDs, rather than waiting for it to go to all these legal channels. So when people has this anticipation to wait for it to go for the pirated version, then they would not spend. Okay, imagine I just made a movie with all the monies that I borrowed from my friends, fathers, makcik-pakcik, and then put aside the hard work. But when it goes to the piracy, when it goes to this pirated browsing website, and then it kills off my financial revenue streams, right? So it affects me financially, and then if I had my first attempt failed, I would never do it again. So piracy has this potential not to, of course we are talking about on a large scale. Economically it affects the country, and then it also made a lot of job loss, a lot of job loss I read from the point just now, yeah. But also it has the potential to kill off potential filmmakers, local filmmakers, okay. We might accidentally kill off potential future Malaysians. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to go to Dr. Yusof. Now, Dr. Yusof has many years battled this issue of content theft, from Gerak Khas to Abalong Fadil to more recently Munafik 2, which Scope Productions had some success suing a man for uploading the movie on Facebook and Instagram. Dato, what does it really tell you about our viewers in Malaysia? Despite so many warnings, you have warnings like jangan record, jangan cetak rompak when you go to the cinema, but still consumers do it. Is there a lack of awareness or they just don't care?
Assalamualaikum semua. Yang berhormat YB dan rakan-rakan. Saya bercakap dalam bahasa Malaysia. Saya lebih selesa kerana my English tak bagus. So better I bercakap dalam bahasa ibunda saya yang saya lebih selesa. Okey, bercakap tentang filem saya dah involved dalam industri filem ni dah lebih 40 tahun. Sebagai producer 30 tahun. Bermula daripada RTM, daripada Kementerian Perdagangan, sekarang Kementerian Komunikasi dan Multimedia pada tahun 1984. Daripada small producers kita buat TV program sampai jadi film producer pada tahun 1990. Masalah yang kita hadapi adalah masalah yang sama. Sebab saya sekarang dah 65 tahun. I'm 65 now. Okey, benda ni daripada awal sampai sekarang, daripada muda sampai tua, tidak pernah berubah. Daripada filem pertama, Bayangan Maut, Pemburu Bayang dan banyak lagi rakan-rakan sebagai filem, saya dah produce lebih kurang 40 movies. Alhamdulillah, kebanyakan sukses dan banyak juga yang menjadi mangsa cetak rompak. Datuk, banyak sekali. Dan filem saya yang paling dahsyat sekali kena cetak rompak sebelum tayang ialah filem KL Gangster 2, yang mana 40 hari sebelum tayang dah dicetak rompak, dimainkan dalam internet, dan dalam masa 40 hari itu di kedai-kedai kopi semua, sampai anak saya Syamsul merajuk, saya kata inilah perjuangan di mana Wa'imah apa sekalipun kehidupan harus diteruskan. Kalau kita dapat 1000 kemanisan, kalau satu orang uji, jangan patah semangat. Ya, Baby? Bagi saya ini perjuangan. Sebab pihak kerajaan pun dah buat macam-macam. Tinggal lagi yang menimbulkan kesalahan saya ialah kita sebenarnya undang-undang ada, peraturan ada, tetapi tidak diterlaksanakan secara benar-benar, secara proaktif. Maaf cakap, ini bukan sebab apa, sebab saya dah involve bidang ni dah 10 tahun sebagai producer pun. Daripada filem yang kita buat, filem pasrah ditayangkan dalam masa 4 hari saja, dijual di Cokit, saya ingat lagi. Dan saya sendiri turun dengan pihak KBD NKK ketika itu di Cokit, saya pegang orang tu keluar surat khabar muka depan, producer mengamuk. Sebab itu sebenarnya satu satu pesanan kepada orang ramai jangan buat cerita rompak. Tetapi benda tu terus berlaku dan kita buat report dan kes terakhir sekali berlaku adalah filem Munafik. Dalam masa tidak sampai 3 minggu, rakaman dibuat melalui dalam pawagam, kemudian disebarkan melalui internet, di dalam Facebook, YouTube dan sebagainya. Dan kita ada gunakan budi bicara kita, iaitu kita nasihat, suruh turunkan. Tapi dicabar. You nak buat apa? Tak peduli. Syamsul dalam cara baik cakap, alah ini semua dia kata, ini tak ada takut lah, ini government tak buat apa-apalah. So dicabar selama seminggu lebih, lalu saya ambil legal action. Saya pasang lawyer, saya pasang private investigator. Saya buat report kepada pihak Kementerian Perdagangan Dalam Negeri, saya buat report juga, kita usaha sendiri. Dan yang saya rasa tak sedap tu, saya lebih cepat daripada pihak kementerian. Macam mana tu? Saya lebih cepat boleh dapat tangkap orang tu, dapat tahu siapa orang dia daripada pihak kementerian. Di manakah silap dia? Mungkin ada yang mengatakan, ini bukan saya nak merendahkan mana-mana kementerian ya. Saya tidak kata benda ni berlaku daripada sebelum zaman Pakatan Harapan pemerintah sampai sekarang. Mungkin Pakatan Harapan masih baru lagi. Ya, jadi apa yang saya kesalkan, apabila kita buat report, setakat kita dah buat report, kita ambil tindakan. Itu benda saya rasa dialog klise. Klise yang dah ratus kali, ribu kali saya dengar, tindakan. Akhirnya kita dapat pegang orang tu, kemudian bawa dia pergi ke mahkamah. Kita charge dia, kita pun habis duit, dekat 50,000 duit lawyer kita. Sebenarnya bukan pasal duit, tapi lebih kepada satu pesanan kepada orang ramai, jangan main-main dengan soal undang-undang. Dan apa yang saya kesalkan lagi ialah apabila berlaku filem-filem tempatan ditayangkan di kedai-kedai atau dijual di kedai-kedai video depan mata saya, kita buat juga report. Tapi besok saya datang, seminggu depan, benda yang sama. Ini yang saya kesalkan. Saya minta maaf. Bukan saya nak memperkekikan mana-mana kementerian. Tapi kita tidak proaktif. Kita banyak cakap, tapi tak laksanakan. Sebab ambil report, okey, ya ambil report. Bukan itu saja. Jadi selagi ini punya budaya kita bawa, selagi itulah sampai bila pun tak akan selesai. Saya tahu, cerita rompak bukan senang nak selesai. Bukan perkara mudah. Ini masalah dunia sebenarnya. Tetapi kita harus buat sesuatu. Kalau saya rasa kalau kita ada undang-undang yang ketat, undang-undang dah ada, tapi kalau pelaksanaan dia. Kalau kita buat tindakan, contoh saya bagi kawan saya, saudara A Galak, Tok Misai, di Singapura. Singapura kata dia, Datuk Sob, kalau diorang dapat tahu ni terus dia tangkap. Dia ambil action, on the spot. Ini yang saya sedih, bila kita pergi report, syarikat mana, kau tak kenal ke Soal Islam. Bila masa tubuh syarikat, all the nonsense ni benda dia tanya, benda tu jadi buat kita marah lah. Jadi tak kenal ini filem ni siapa, punya siapa, kau tak tahu ke filem siapa. Jadi benda-benda ni sebenarnya saya rasa inilah yang buatkan tidak ada perubahan. You buat 100 tahun kalau budaya ni diteruskan, industri filem kita akan berterusan macam ni dan tidak ada perubahan. Saya berani cakap benda ni sebab saya dah melalui keperitan. Kalau kita tak jaga benda ni, industri akan collapse, TV station juga akan collapse. Berapa banyak peluang pekerjaan akan habis. Akhirnya industri kita collapse, kerajaan rugi. Untuk pengetahuan tuan-tuan, ada orang mengatakan industri lokal tidak membawa apa-apa keuntungan kepada kerajaan. Terus terang kita katakan untuk tahun sudah kita mengutip ya, kita utip hampir 200 juta for local movie. 200 juta untuk 25% entertainment tax berapa? About 50 million. Ya. Jadi kerajaan menyumbang, kita mendapat menyumbang, kita sebagai producer menyumbang kepada pihak kerajaan lebih kurang dalam 50 million. Jadi ada sumbangan kita kepada itu. Kita dapat balas balik apa yang Fidas bagi, kerajaan bagi kepada kita. Ada bagi grant. Saya tak ambil grant kecuali filem CGI saja. Itu memang. Jadi kalau kata kita tak ada menyumbang kepada industri, saya rasa bohong. Dan tak masuk tu cukai-cukai kepada syarikat. Syarikat filem kena cukai, pemain kena cukai, pengarah kena cukai. Jadi saya rasa kita juga banyak menyumbang kepada pihak kerajaan. Cuma saya minta supaya undang-undang tu dilaksanakan, undang-undang dari dilaksanakan, diketatkan dan orang-orang dalam kementerian yang tertentu, tak kira apa kementerian sekalipun, pihak berkuasa, supaya orang kata ambil serius perkara ini dan ambil tindakan serius. Kalau kita ambil tindakan serius, baru orang takut. Sampai tak boleh cabar, kerajaan buat apa, ni semua main wayang. Saya pernah sendiri. Sampai satu toke, masa kita buat cerita gangster, yang dibocor, dia cakap dengan saya, dia pun kepala gangster. Dia kata, apa kamu boleh buat? You buang masa sajalah, you bising sajalah. Depan saya cakap, lepas saya buat report. Why? Sebab dia tahu kementerian kita tidak menjalankan tanggungjawab dia dengan orang kata apa, tak proaktif lah. Dia orang jalankan kerja dia orang, tapi tidak proaktif. Maaf, mungkin cakap-cakap saya ni pedih. Tapi kita orang industri lagi pedih. Kita merasakan keperitan, kita rugi. Industri sampai kolaps. Jadi saya harap pihak kerajaan, khususnya dengan kerajaan baru Pakatan Harapan, saya harap benda ni tak berlaku. Kalau tidak kan, berulang YB, benda yang sama, tadi tak boleh salahkan kerajaan lama, tak boleh salahkan kerajaan baru. Jadi saya hendakkan cakap serupa bikin. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Datuk Yusof. Penguatkuasaan salah satu faktor yang amat penting, dan Datuk juga ada menyebut mengenai budaya, the culture of Malaysians. I like to go to Lisa because previously when we met, I think you said something quite interesting whereby a fan came up to you to have your signature, to have you sign on a pirated copy of her movie.
Is that really? It was actually this was during the time when pirated DVDs were still, in demand,
in demand,
right? Yeah. So he was actually a pirated DVD seller. So I was actually filming for a film. So he came. Quite honestly, it was quite innocent-ish because he saw me and he saw my picture on the cover of the DVD, and he was like, oi, 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 oi. And then he grabbed the marker pen, and he was like, sign. To which the director that I was working with was like, wait, hello, you can't do this, So, and then I was just like, oh, I'm so sorry, I really can't do it or whatever. But yeah, that is what happened. Yes, he asked for my signature to sign on a pirated DVD.
How does it make you feel? I mean, is there a lack of awareness? Because we do run anti-piracy campaigns. We tell them, hey, do not record. Hey, do not go online, down illegal downloads.
Yeah.
Dato mentioned about enforcement. There not enough strict enforcement as your point of view as an industry player.
Quite honestly, before I would like to address my panel speakers, hello and good afternoon. I would like to address the members on the floor as well. Hello, assalamualaikum semua. If you want to speak about your question again, like what are my views about whether or not is there a lack of awareness? Quite honestly, the awareness is there. It has been ongoing. It's been decades long of us talking about, hey, piracy is wrong. We've done various angles and approaches to try and curb piracy. We've used angles that maybe we've had a lot of heart. Kita kesiankan orang yang bekerja susah payah. We've angled different approach. In fact, the ad previously as well, who's using the child saying, but daddy, stealing is wrong, da 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 da. I mean, we've used various ways. We've used even factual, objectively as well. Before watching a film, they say, hey, don't record whatever, because it is against the law, full stop. But people do it anyways. Because they're just so darn stubborn. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, for them, it's kind of like, look, let's look at the options provided. I can watch this film, I can pay for it, or I can watch it for free. I'm not stupid. I'll definitely watch it for free. You know what I mean? But the thing is, they don't realize that they are part of the crumbling of an ecosystem, crumbling of an industry, that if they continue on doing it, that the creative industry, as it is, already rippling. It's a domino effect. It will thus far. If it continues on, it will collapse. No more content lah. So people like me will end up having to sell tudongs. Even so, tudongs can be copied. So how? You know what I mean? but they want content.
Yeah.
They want us to create content, right? So my view would have to be that, you know, like, I think we've tried playing the good guy. We've tried being nice about it, and etc. I guess when it comes to the government and the stakeholders and the experts involved, when we say that there is a need for enforcement to be applied, I think we're going to have to really look into who are we going to catch? Who else are we going to catch for it to truly bring effect to the stop of piracy? Do we just tackle the ones who are, you know, opening up the floodgates? Or do we also go into the consumers? I don't know. This is just for us to ask. You know, like, macam, should we? Should we go straight to the consumers or no? Because it's one of those daunting questions, isn't it? You know, like, if we go straight to the consumers, we're like, oh no, they'll be really pissed off. But I don't know. If we actually apply the enforcement, then they'll be like, oh my God, memang tak berani. I don't want to be caught. I don't want to go behind bars. I don't want to wear orange. I don't want to go to a toilet that can flush. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But like, for me, I guess it's like, it's just one of those things that we are going to have to work together, hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder. When it comes to the enforcement bit, like, how wide a scale do we go about it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to go to YB, but shortly, I need to address that. Okay. We have the individuals that they go online, they download, they stream illegally, but we also have the other, what I would say, almost like an organized criminal activity. Those companies or those businesses selling illegal Android boxes, media streaming devices. Tell us about your experience when it comes to dealing with that kind of threat, and how does it impact Astro?
Clearly, when you look at the numbers that is sliding, I think there's a few factors that come into play. One is the paid platform, which today we have a lot more options for the consumers to choose how do they want to consume their content. So that's fine, because at least the ecosystem, the money is staying within the proper channel. But when you have Android boxes, when we have to, say, for example, pay for a lot of money to actually buy the license of World Cup, and then all the illegal devices can actually pull down all these streaming sites. So that costs us a lot of money. And advertisers beginning to feel like, why should we participate? Because viewers are going everywhere else and not to your platform. So the multiple effect, the domino effect, is quite critical. And I think this is where we need to realize, and coming back to enforcement, I think we do need to put together and align the enforcement into a place. Say, for example, we had our share of experience in when we make a police report, and then we have to go to a couple of ministries to go about it. I think we can actually. I think the easiest way to try and streamline it, YB, make it simpler, and then so that the act can be faster. From Astro, we have put in place technologically, say, watermark system for us to track. Okay, when some illegal content is being shared or being streamed, we can actually track back to see, okay, who is the account holder, and then we can actually take action. We, like Dato' Yusof, we are able to actually nab the person, but how do we take action against this person? So that the legal framework needs to be streamlined. I think in recent years, recent month, we see the new act on smoking has been very, very successful, and I think we can do it. Yeah. But I could see my friends were like, oh, okay, no, we have to work the 3-meter rule and all that. The awareness is there. I mean, of course, there will be someone who will langgar, but the awareness is there. I think the media partners will play our role. Maybe the messaging cannot be too soft anymore, like what Lisa is mentioning. Maybe we need to visualize, okay, this is what's going to happen to you, and have that image in their head of what the consequences will be if they break the law.
But the enforcement has to also be carried out as well, apart from the warnings,
Okay. All right. Okay. I'd like to go to YB. We have had successes. Earlier, Vivek, you mentioned like 246 infringing websites were blocked. We have had successes capturing or shutting down some of these 33 Android boxes sellers in models, the models itself. You also mentioned streamlining during your speech, and these are some of the concerns that our industry players has brought, because we have the KPD and HEP in terms of enforcement, but a lot of this digital content, digital issues falls under MCMC and also your ministry. How do you envision a better streamlining of enforcement in that sense and policy making as well?
Terima kasih. I'll just respond to the issues raised by my friends here today. Now, at the outset, let me say this. We acknowledge that there is a problem. We acknowledge that it is growing. And we also acknowledge that there is huge dissatisfaction, particularly among the industry players, because there seems to be a lack of ability on part of the government, also the enforcement agencies, to deal with it. So that's where we start. Dalam masa sama, saya nak sebut bahawa bila kita ada undang-undang, when we have laws, soal dia adakah undang-undang itu mencukupi untuk kita menyelesaikan masalah yang sedia ada. So while we have laws, are those laws which currently exist sufficient to deal with the problem? Dan di sini kita lihat bagaimana apa yang disebut oleh semua ahli panelis di sini adalah betul, benar. Whatever has been said by the panelists here is correct. Kerana kalau kita lihat kepada kementerian-kementerian yang ada, kita ada Kementerian Domestic Trade, kita ada MCMC, kita ada PDRM, kita ada Custom yang juga hadir hari ini. Seolah-olah sekiranya ada masalah, maka kita kena lihat kepada ramai sangat pihak-pihak. Kemudian kita lihat bahawa mereka ini tolak di antara satu sama lain, tidak ada koordinasi, di mana kita lihat masalah ini akan menjadi masalah yang tidak dapat diselesaikan. So we have so many ministries, all of whom are supposed to be responsible, but then don't want to take responsibility, pushing it to one another and so forth, and this tires out the industry.
So do you see that there's a possibility of having a single task force?
As I say, so what happens is to understand the problem that the industry faces. People come to me and they say, YB, I complain to this agency. But this agency says go and complain to that agency. After 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months, is already, and what Dr. Yusuf is saying is true. By that time, the damage is done. Yeah. And people lose confidence in the system. So as I said earlier, you may have laws that exist, but currently, are the laws that exist, if enforced, are they capable of dealing with the problem? So this is where we find there's a need to streamline. So ada ramai pihak yang mai jumpa saya, dia kata, okay, this is the problems, and we are looking into it. And I have asked MCMC, kita ada kuasa untuk kita block. We have. There are powers, but the powers under the Act are limited to that. Powers to go down to the ground, macam Dr. Yusuf said, you want to go to Chowkit where the person is there, the report is made, he can point them out. But the question is, when it comes to enforcement, who's going to follow him and do it? So ini masalah-masalah kita ada, and I understand that. And what we need to do is we need to find a mechanism which is focused towards settling this problem. In other words, you have to have clarity in the law as to when a problem like this arises, who you need to go and see, make sure that it is them who has the power to solve it, how they are supposed to do it, be it taking action against those responsible for creating the pirated product or those who consume it, the people who actually watch it. These are things that you have to look at. Yes. And most importantly, you must have a legal system that can deal with it quickly. Kalau tidak, kita tidak boleh minta kepada semua, especially the younger and the newer players. You can't expect all of them to go to court to get an order. And let me tell you, to go and engage a lawyer, I know when it comes to engaging lawyers. I mean, okay, I'm not going to go into that. Jadi issue pula. But the point is, right, this is exactly what people are saying. I mean, we exist. There are ministries that exist. You will have the powers, but at the end of the day, you say that you can't do anything about it. And as a result of which, we look at hundreds, if not hundreds of millions of ringgit being lost in terms of economic value to the country. So I think this is something that needs to be done. Members of the industry have come to see me. We are in the process of doing that. We are in the process of speaking to the ministries. Of course, there has to be a decision made at a policy level. And of course, we will also seek input from the industry. I understand. I understand. In fact, if you ask me, I would think that there should be courts designated for this in itself because of the nature and extent of the problems. But these are things that have to be thought out. And I agree. People say, look, governments come and go. They keep on making pledges. They say things and all that, but we don't see a difference. And this is where I think we have to be different. We have to make sure that we come up with a system that works. But at least we should try. We shouldn't be afraid to fail. I think a lot of times when I speak to the ministry, they're not sure. Kalau kita macam ni, tak tahu boleh atau tidak boleh. But we have to start somewhere. So I completely agree with these, the views expressed. And I'm prepared, as far as I'm concerned, at my ministry level, to do what is necessary to try and fix it. Kerana itulah yang saya rasa, this is what we are duty bound to do by the people, especially when we are now given mandate to govern the country.
All right, Ravi, staying on the topic of legislation, do you feel that the provisions available are sufficient and up to date to address online digital copyright? We have the Copyright Act 1987, but it has yet to be updated since its enactment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what are your thoughts on that?
I think there's a lot of improvement that needs to be made. There's a lot of updating that needs to be made, particularly in terms of how it is we have developed. You can talk about piracy, and you can talk about digital piracy. Now, if you add them both together, right, it's huge. Now, you have certain powers because it's digital, so we say MC. But then, let me ask you this. Is blocking a website enough? Does it solve the problem? It doesn't. We have to go beyond that. This is the reason why we have to say, okay, look, shouldn't it not be the case that we bring all these ministries together, deal with piracy, be it digital or otherwise, tell the industry that if something happens, you lodge a report, we guarantee you that things will be done in a certain time, and at the end of the day, you know where to go to get things done. So this is what I think we need to do. So to answer your question, laws exist, but are they sufficient? I think not. What do you need to do? I think we need to bring everyone together. Why? Because we got to understand that the problem today is multi-dimensional. And how do we resolve it? We have to try and get all of them together. And if we can get it all together under one particular agency, then I think that's a step forward. And I think that would be the starting point to deal with the problem.
I think a lot of industry players are very happy to hear your thoughts today and your stand on this. Now, before I go on, I'd like to speak to Vivek, but we will open the floor for some Q&A later in about maybe 15 minutes. So please, if you want to ask some questions to our panel, do get your questions ready. Now, Vivek, we've talked about the situation in Malaysia, which you are very well aware and you have done lots of research. But we look at how we want to move forward and what are some of the best practices or regime that other countries have in place to really effectively tackle online piracy or content theft.
Yeah, thank you. Look, I think from our perspective, I think we heard in the morning a lot about some of the other jurisdictions and the way it is. As the ministers talked about, the most important thing is now everyone's aware of the extent of the problem. I think from my perspective, from what we've seen in other markets, it's this, the second critical thing is collaborative industry action, which of course Ravia is at the forefront of in Singapore. So you've seen a few things happen in the last couple of years. I think the first instance is in the United Kingdom, and the second instance is in Singapore, which is somewhat closer to us, where, as I mentioned in my presentation, connectivity and content is at the heart of the entertainment economy. So you need both sides acting collaboratively. So you've seen in the UK that BT, British Telecom, and Sky has worked hard and collaboratively with the content providers to make sure that these problems get addressed. In Singapore, there was always an issue where these sides didn't come together, but now Singtel and others have come together with the content providers to address that issue. So that's that's a key thing that needs to occur in Malaysia with the telecom carriers and the content providers. And then, of course, as some of the esteemed participants, panelists have said, criminalization at the consumer end, awareness, and also the ability to strike at the heart of this and not get bottled down on bureaucracy is very important.
Now, I'd like to come from the consumer's point of view. They look at three things mainly when they turn to the reasons why they tend to pirated sites, illegal downloads, content cost, availability of the content, and also user experience. They want a great user experience, they want to access to content they want to watch, don't want content censored, and they want it at reasonable cost. These are some of the reasons that they give. And we have to acknowledge these are what drives them to the illegal sites. So, what are your thoughts on that in terms of how, are there gaps within the industry, content player, your views on the consumer's perspective?
Look, I think content costs and choice has proliferated, right? There's a lot of, on television platforms, there's a lot of, they're free platforms and there's paid platforms. But let's look at the internet video sites. As I highlighted, there's a lot of broad range of content, particularly in terms of local content, Asian premium content available between 10 ringgit and then Netflix at 33 as a starting price ringgit, and then 40 ringgit. And then of course you have YouTube, it's free, you have Enjoy Now, it's free, then you have day passes and so forth. Look, I've got to be a little bit careful of saying this, but we've been in this industry for 20, 30 years. Piracy initially when it starts off is a great proof of concept to show there's huge demand for a legal product, right? Whether it's English Premier League sports, whether it's Chinese content and so forth. But a lot of people have made that available now in Malaysia. The gentleman earlier, I think it was Adrian, was talking about sports and movies, day and date, straight after theatrical. That's all happening now, whether it's through Astro's platform or iFlix and View, so that's all happening. You could say Hollywood content could be made even more immediately available in Malaysia and should be more accessible, what the studios create. But that will happen as we heard from the minister. Globalization of internet standards have made that is going to make that increasingly important to be available day and date in Malaysia. But I think there's a raft of content both on organized platforms, both on MCNs, that is available for free, but is still being pirated. Even local football, when it is for free in Malaysia, it's still being pirated. So it's a contagion factor, and as the panelists have said, it's kind of it's become endemic into user behavior, and the only way to get that out of user behavior is to make sure there's legislation that they don't have that choice.
Thank you, Vivek. Now, before I go to the Q&A, I'd just like to get your thoughts on our panel across the board, just about your hopes for the industry, and what are the areas do you feel that could be better improved? We talked about, yes, enforcement, awareness. Maybe we'll start with Lisa as an artist. You watch your work, the painstaking process of making a movie to tell your story to the world, and next thing you know, it's on, I don't know, YouTube or Facebook or something.
Yeah, it can be quite frustrating because of the fact that your creation or what being part of and your passion is taking a back seat and etc. It's one of those things where it feels like me against the world. That feeling. If I may say, one may argue, when it comes to actors, the one who is actually the frontliners of the whole. The whole system, they say, hey, why are you complaining so much? Because you've kind of been paid for the services that you've rendered. But then for the other contractors, for example, the ones who work behind the camera, the ones in the technical team, art department, etc., the ones who are working in post, etc., they're kind of at the worst end of the deal, because more often than not, producers are going to have to kind of give providence to the frontliners where budget allocation is concerned. But that is also part of the whole, the crumbling, right? The domino effect, as they call it. Obviously, when it comes to something like this, where it's policy changing, amendment of laws, you know, with the government, stakeholders involved, everybody on board. We know that Rome was not built in a day, so we kind of understand the fact that, you know, it's one of those things where it requires time. At the same time, like I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm just plucking things out of the sky right now, like, you know, it's a global issue, isn't it? It's not just Malaysia that's suffering from this. And knowing fully well that the other countries are kind of working on tightening their laws, you know, with the existing loopholes that exist in their legislation, if they may need for us to sort of like see, hey, how are they going about it? Like, you know, how are those from outside of Malaysian soil going about it? Maybe we could sort of like, you know, tweak it as long as it fits into our constitution, maybe, I don't know. But all in all, you know, of course, us within the industry, you know, directors, actors, all, we're totally on board when it comes to giving support in raising the awareness. I think provided that we have a clearer approach as to how we can approach the matter, because quite honestly, based on our experience in the past, if you go in an angle where it's sort of like, oh, kesianlah kita, susah payah kerja, whatever, the consumers, they don't feel jack about that, quite honestly. To them, it's like, hey, you know what? That's your problem. That is your problem. I just want to watch this stuff for free. But then again, we're trying to tell them like, hey, if you keep doing this, no more content for you. There's nothing for free. You know what I mean? Yeah, so, yeah. What basically my end would say, I would say we're in this together.
Thank you, Lisa. Adrian.
Like I was sharing with YB just now, I think there are a lot of work needed to be done in terms of for the government or the authorities to draft up the legal framework to handle this or to tackle this issue as a whole. And it's been decades, like what Lisa has been mentioning, it's been decades this problem persisted. So, and I believe that there are efforts being poured onto this matter before, but then, like I said, you know, I understand a lot of complicated issues need to be solved, the authority, the jurisdiction under different ministry. But I do think that there's something that I think we can do right now in order for us, as in for the current government and for YB, your ministry, to show the determination and the initiative to really want to solve this issue as a whole, is to make it a mandate for all the ISP to ban all the online streaming websites. I know there are mechanisms now to prevent or to catch this kind of a culprit who illegally stream videos online. But I'm trying to say that make it a mandate for them. It's like how we ban porn's website in Malaysia. Yeah, that's something that I think it should not need that much long of time, and then something that can be done immediately to show our initiative and effort to tackle this issue. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Kai?
I would like to highlight what our chairman earlier mentioned in his speech about the responsibility is ours. Put aside the enforcement, the legal infrastructure, but we as individuals, we need to play that role as a parent, as a brother, as a friend, to actually remind the people around us, the small circle around us, about the importance or the effect of piracy. And it's an act of stealing. And I like the analogy about going to a supermarket. If you see someone stealing, do we allow him to get away with it? So I think that message should come forward.
All right, I'll go to Dr. Yusof first.
Okey, pada pandangan saya lah, saya setuju apa yang YB bercakap, apa yang kawan bercakap. Dalam kes cetak rompak ni saya rasa, rompakan digital, bagi saya kita harus ada satu badan dan tidak kita banyak sangat sekarang ni. Kita di bawah kementerian yang ni, kementerian ini, yang ni tolak ni kan. Bagi saya satu badan yang mengawal isu cetak rompak ni. Jadi kalau kita ada buat report ke segala, kita pergi pada satu tempat saja, satu kementerian saja, supaya dia softkan. Kalau tidak, kita ini tolak sana, ditolak sini sampai bila pun tak habis. Dia ni nak menyalahkan situ, yang situ. Because saya pernah pergi, because saya sendiri buat cerita polis dah 10 tahun dah. Saya buat police story. Orang kata, Datuk Sob, you buat gerahas, tak boleh tangkap ke? Saya pergi jumpa kawan-kawan saya kat polis sana, kata Datuk Sob, dia orang cerita yang sama juga. Masalah kita pun ada kes, banyak kerja. Kita boleh buat tindakan, tapi pihak kementerian yang berkenaan kena ni, yang ni tolak sini, jadi dia tak selesai. Dan lagi satu, saya rasa sebab budaya tidak takut pada undang-undang ni memang ada dalam Malaysia ni. Budaya tidak takut undang-undang. Ini semua wayang. Sampai saya sendiri pergi ke forum-forum dalam universiti, sometimes cakap dia, Datuk Yusof, you buat cerita wayang kan senang dapat tangkap kan. You punya case cetak rompat tak boleh tangkap. Because benda tu sebenarnya ialah dalam wayang kita nak tunjukkan benda yang baik, yang positif saja. Kan? Bagi saya lah, kalau kita nak buat sesuatu tu, kalau macam apa yang Datuk Kai kata pasal isu rokok kan. Saya ada restoran. Saya tengok customer sekarang dia tak dia penisap rokok. Dia keluar, dia respect undang-undang tu. Because ada undang-undang yang ketat. Tapi kalau kita cakap pasal cerita rompat, apa salah? Kita nak tengok. You orang dah bikin duit kat panggung. Dan cakap begitu. Dan juga ada masa saya terkilat, ni berlaku bukan baru, dah lama dah sekali. Satu orang kementerian, saya tak nak sebut orang kementerian mana, dia kata, Datuk Yusof, you dah buat duit tak payah biarlah bagi charge orang. Boleh pula. Jadi kalau orang kaya kena rompak, tak apa dia kena rompak. Dia kaya dan rompak tak apa. Ada undang itu. Yang cakap ni satu orang yang ada kuasa dalam tu. Saya rasa, apa benda ni, kartun apa ni? Benda tu. Dan saya satu lagi isu satu pihak kementerian datang ke tempat saya. Ini bukan kementerian KBKK, bukan saya tak sebut nama. Jangan kata tu you all, banyak datang dia kata cetak rompak. Dia kata, Datuk Yusof, saya tak pernah beli yang original, saya beli yang haram. Saya cakap dengan dia, you datang kat sini dengan saya, you menyiasat satu kes. Ini kes pasal-pasal income tax lah. Ini lama kes. Kalau saya beli cetak rompak. Saya kata, you seorang kaki tangan kerajaan, you buat cakap ini penguasa undang-undang, nanti you cakap you ngamalkan ini ke? Ini salah ni. Minta maaf Datuk Yusof. Saya rasa diorang anggap macam undang-undang main-main. Apabila pihak yang berkuasa bercakap macam tu, macam mana rakyat nak respect? Itu yang berlaku sekarang ni. Kalau kita ada peraturan yang kuat, yang serius, orang takut. Isu rokok cukup. Sekarang main restoran, kadang-kadang mamak sekarang meniaga kurang baik. Because orang kata tak boleh isi rokok, dia bagi jauh-jauh. So saya rasa budaya takut pada bagi saya lah, apa yang kita kena hormat undang-undang. Kalau dia orang tak takut kepada undang-undang, sampai bila pun tak akan selesai masalah ni. Dan kita sebagai pihak berkuasa, khususnya saya minta lah dengan kerajaan baru ni, supaya buktikan bahawa kerajaan baru ni boleh melaksanakan undang-undang dan tidak cakap sebuah bikin. Tak mahu happy? Saya cakap ni, kalau kita simpan pun kita hipokrit lah. Saya tak reti hipokrit lah. Kalau saya cakap. Dan mungkin cakap-cakap saya ni, kerana saya dijemput, saya meluahkan apa yang saya rasai, kesakitan saya, bukan kesakitan saya, ramai kawan-kawan. Banyak rakan-rakan industri filem pun dah tutup syarikat dia, orang tak buat filem. Bukan dia takut tu. Kadang buat filem belum tayang lagi dah habis dah. Dan sekarang dalam social media ni tahu je lah. Belum tayang lagi, orang ni dia tengok saja wayang tu, dia tak suka, dia hentam dalam WhatsApp, internet, jangan tengok gambar ni. Dan ini juga boleh berlaku pada ini. Dan ini sebenarnya banyak cabaran yang kita hadapi sekarang. Kadang-kadang you buka restoran, kedai makan, bolehkah you masuk restoran, you makan, you masuk dalam internet, jangan makan kat restoran ni. Makanan dia tak sedap, ada lipas. Nampak? Ini zaman yang berlaku ini, sampai restoran boleh tutup. Jadi cabaran terlalu banyak. Kita pula orang industri, kita lalui cabaran ini. Tokyo belacan pun menghadapi masalah juga. Belacan dah tak laku sekarang. Tak laku. Bukan generasi muda tak makan belacan. Itulah saya harap itu apa yang saya minta, dan saya mohon maaf kepada pihak-pihak berkenaan, kepada semua kalau kata-kata saya tadi, bukan saya nak menuding jari. Kita manusia tak sempurna. Saya pun tak sempurna, tak siapa sempurna, tapi kita cuba perbaiki apa yang kurang. Segala kebaikan daripada Allah SWT, segala kekurangan datang daripada saya dan kita sebagai manusia yang serba kekurangan. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Datuk. Now finally, I'd like to go to Vivek. Your observations, what are some of the tools, immediate tools that we can employ that is best suited for Malaysia in terms of tackling this content theft and online piracy?
Look, as I said, I think it's collaborative action, more site blocking, and a recognition by the telecom players right across the ecosystem, even if they're not actively invested in the content business, And some of them are aggregating legal OTT sites that hosting illegal or enabling consumption of illegal OTT sites is going to be harmful, not just to the entertainment business, but to their own business longer term. And once that recognition is made, I think the catalyst right through is very significant.
Thank you, Vivek. Now I'd like to open the floor to Q&A. There are mic stands.
I'm Shani Baba. I'm representing the Film Producers Association. I just cut it short. I would like to request Minister to consider and bring it up to the Cabinet to bring, because the core of the problem is the infringement of intellectual property rights. That's under a different ministry that is concerned with domestic consumerism, price of egg, petrol, vegetable. It is very far away from intellectual property. So we would like to propose that the Minister bring it up to Cabinet to bring intellectual property rights under the purview of the Ministry of Communication. So I think that will cut everything halfway, 50% of it, everything under one roof, so we can coordinate better that way. And number two, sorry, I got a second question. There's a lot of, I think, advertisement that's being done for anti-piracy. It's not been working. It's very frustrating. We are all in the content business. We sell dreams, TV stations sell dreams, cinema sell dreams, and we can't even convince people that piracy is wrong and is bad. And that's really serious. We don't seem to be able to do it. And I think it's because we don't have that culture. The education of explaining to the people that intellectual property is a big thing. And we don't have that culture because we don't acknowledge it. The government doesn't acknowledge the creators of copyright. The creators of content are not being acknowledged. So it doesn't filter down. People don't take it seriously. You don't have your rights. Artists' royalties are not acknowledged. So people don't see it as an important issue. So that needs to be acknowledged. That needs to filter down. And it's part of education. Then people will understand why piracy is bad, why our jobs are affected, why our income are affected. Thank you.
Thank you. YB, would you like to respond to that?
Terima kasih, Dato'. These are two areas that we're looking at. Definitely in terms of shifting it to a different ministry. I'm not sure whether it's my ministry. But as I said earlier, we want to try and streamline it. That's number one. Number two, insofar as IP is concerned, you're completely right. I think the value attached to copyright is something that we need to take seriously, and this is something that we are trying to develop as well. We are working on it together with those people responsible. So yes, point taken. I'll look into that. Thank you for those views.
I'm surprised there's no more questions. I guess our panel has pretty much gave a very concise and comprehensive landscape, a landscape of how digital piracy, content theft has impacted the industry. And thank you so much, YB. I mean, you have, I think, given us quite a bit of hope. I mean, you recognize the problem, and I think we all, like the panel has said, everybody has a role to play, and we are very supportive, and we hope to work together with your ministry. Thank you. Now, thank you. Thank you, Vivek.